Hey everybody, it's Mattie here with Altcoin Buzz. Hope you're doing well on this Monday. We're looking at a couple of stories, including some predictions by way of Thomas Lee. Once again, he always seems to be in the news. We're also looking at some metrics, actually, some very impressive ones about transaction fees as they relate to Monero, since they're hard forks. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to begin today with Altcoin Buzz news, not on altcoinbuzz.io because our website is undergoing maintenance. So we're looking at the same publication here on Medium, but before long, you will be able to access this on altcoinbuzz.io, of course. So we're looking at Newsflash. This was the news, the most important stories of the last week. If you've not necessarily been up to speed with some of these, we'd recommend checking out all the links below. We have 5 stories that are highlighted for you. As far as we're concerned, they're the ones that most shaped the market and the cryptocurrency landscape. So we talked about all of these individually in our videos from the last few days. At number 1, we have the fact that Goldman Sachs and Mike Novogratz are betting on crypto custody. You can read more about that involvement with BitGo and a $70 million fundraising effort, $15 million of which was raised by Goldman Sachs and Mike Novogratz jointly. So they're obviously quite serious about that. At number 2, the backed CEO Kelly Luffer. Crypto market is fragmented. We're about to see a revolution. So, quote, many of us share the view that a new asset class is forming and a framework for operating within these markets is welcome. The potential for product development is strong and is the need for regulatory certainty. She had a lot of positive things to say. Go back and check out our article here or our previous video coverage of her point of view. Number 3, international security firm to offer vaulted offline security storage. We're talking about G4S. So they're all of a sudden taking on a more institutional service role when it comes to those really big players that want to take their cryptocurrency security seriously. Number 4, Apple co-founder, the Woz co-founds blockchain-focused venture capital fund Equi Global. So, quote, people propose ideas to me every day. This is courtesy of Steve Wozniak, actually dozens per day. And I always say no. Since I founded Apple together with Steve Jobs, this is the second time in 20 years that I really said yes. I want to be a part of this. It must be something that I really believe in, and I really believe in Equi. So do be sure to read more about our coverage there. And number 5, we talked about this just the other day. Huge. XRP helped move $50 million in 2 seconds at a cost of only 30 cents. So the website will be back up soon, guys. You can check out all those links as soon as it is. And again, these are really important stories. So if you're not across them already, we recommend that you do check them out. In other news for today, we have Tom Lee as promised. Bitcoin will hit 25,000 while CNBC's Brian Kelly, quote, institutional herd will soon arrive. So we're talking about Thomas Lee over at Fundstrat, who says people are too bearish. The institutional herd is starting to enter the market, Brian Kelly says, and Bitcoin price is still paralyzed in spite of the slight recovery above 6,400. So you can read a little bit here of the exposition talking about some previous bets that Tom Lee has made. For example, recently Lee shared his opinion with Blockchain Chick, a cryptocurrency enthusiast. He said used his experience in the financial markets to drive his point home on whether Bitcoin can correction, oh my goodness, correct above 20,000 and hit 25,000 by the end of the year. So Tom Lee stated, quote, people are too bearish. What happens is people get bearish because it makes sense. You know, the market conditions have been terrible and we are under our 200-day moving average. He added, we at Fundstrat just published a report this week that pointed to our clients that when Bitcoin is under its 200-day moving average, it only goes up 50% of the time in the next 6 months. But when it's above its 200-day average, it is up 80% of the time in the next 6 months. So the trend implied the 200-day is obviously very important. Then you also had comments out of Brian Kelly, who's the CEO of BKCM. He's also a commentator, and you may know him from his appearances on CNBC's Fast Money. So he said, I can tell you from the conversations that we've had for our crypto hedge fund that the institutional herd is starting to enter the market soon. I think very soon. It wouldn't surprise me to see a lot of companies have something working in the background by Q1 of 2019. I mean, if you're looking at this, there are a couple of things you need to think of. Fidelity is in this space. Also, remember that startups like Robinhood launched a crypto app that got 1 million users in 4 days. So if you are at Schwab or you're at E-Trade, then you may start to look at that and say, where are the customers and they're in crypto? You got to offer that product. So let us know if you agree with Brian Kelly or Tom Lee for that matter. You know, Tom Lee is the kind of guy that I take his predictions with a grain of salt. He's analytical and he does his research, no doubt about it, but you can't take any one person too seriously. Hopping onto his Twitter account here, he does have a lot of mostly retweets, I think, that are pretty interesting, but this puts things in perspective. So if you take a look at this graph, you have the total market cap of gold at about $7.8 trillion. And going down the list, you have Apple at over $1 trillion, Amazon just under $1 trillion, Facebook, Visa, all cryptocurrency here, $210 billion. So, and Bitcoin itself at about $113 billion. It kind of puts things in perspective. And you guys know me, I'm pretty optimistic. I think one day we're going to go well beyond this gold market cap of $7 or $8 trillion. All of cryptocurrency right now is worth less than Visa and just a tad more than Netflix. Bitcoin sits between Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, as you can see. I think the future is certainly all there for us to enjoy. There's going to be a lot of growth. This is, in case you're wondering, from October 19th of 2018. So he's a good follow on Twitter, no doubt about it. I recommend you checking out Tom Lee. Also, a couple of other retweets here. So in this case, Tom Lee retweeted 2 reasons why Bitcoin will rise. Number 1, cost to mine is $9,000 by December. Bitcoin usually trades 2.5 times higher. Number 2, Bitcoin hits 10, as in 10 years old in January. Backed launches in November, and 9 Bitcoin ETFs get reviewed by November 5th. And the best chance of Bitcoin ETF VanEck Solid X gets reviewed in February. So that's obviously not Tom's opinion, but he agreed with it enough to retweet apparently. So do be sure to check him out. We'll link to his Twitter account in the description below. In other news here on ccn.com, Monero transaction fees are down 97% since the hard forks. Following the successful execution of Monero's hard fork on October 18th, average transaction fees for XMR users have fallen a massive 97% from 60 cents to an average of just 2 cents, according to information on Coinmetrics. So known as Monero 0.13.0 Beryllium Bullet, the recent hard fork implemented a trustless, non-interactive zero-knowledge framework called Bulletproofs for the privacy coin, which enabled XMR transaction details to be hidden from public blockchain validation. If you want to read more about that, of course, we're going to link to it. So I would recommend actually checking out the source here, which is Coinmetrics. So Monero RT fork with Bulletproofs has created over 80% reduction in transaction size, over 96% reduction in transaction cost, and 0 effect on the standalone privacy of the Monero network. Congratulations at Fluff Pony. So you can read about the details of that here. Very impressive, certainly. And on getmonero.org, Monero compatible bulletproofs. You can read about this. They predicted this. They talked about it back in the day more technically on December 7th of 2017. Going back to the article here, you can see that there are obviously a lot of quantitative data that back this up. It's very impressive overall. And then you have, speaking on Twitter, you have Coinmetrics released its data. Monero lead developer Ricardo Spagni said Monero is now unfairly cheap. The funny thing is that it hasn't moved the price of Monero all that much, but I suspect this is the kind of thing that, behind the scenes, it's that sort of that it's the thing you can celebrate that's not really like a sensational headline, so it doesn't necessarily attract as much attention as it deserves, but nonetheless a huge accomplishment. If you want to read more about Monero or just check out their website for more information, getmonero.org. You're going to be able to find it in the links below. And again, do be sure to check out Coinmetrics because they're doing good work here as far as summarizing the accomplishments of that bulletproof fork. With that, everybody, do be sure you're following Altcoin Buzz and Altcoin Buzz News on Twitter. There's always news that's happening every single day of the week. It never takes a day off. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Telegram. If you enjoyed this video, smash that thumbs up. Check out our last video here on the right if you haven't already, as well as our latest updates from the website. It'll be back up soon, altcoinbuzz.io. Have a wonderful Monday, everybody out there in the Altcoin Buzz army. If you choose to invest, I wish you the very best of luck. We're going to see you again soon in a new video. Take care.